All right, shalom, shalom to all my Israelite brothers and sisters throughout the four corners of the earth, and peace and blessing to all the other nations watching. I'm Adam Malachi Israel, and today I'm going to give you a presentation of the questions and answers with me and the brother Young Pharaoh's debate that I didn't get the chance to answer these questions due to the information that I was trying to give to you and my limited time constraints. And my 2-year journey being here in the land of Israel has taken me on a wild roller coaster that hadn't allowed me to be able to put out any videos to give you any information. But now the Most High has allowed me to be able to have the time, especially with the shutdown and everything that's going on. I'm blessed to be able to give you this information, and I will be able to continue going forward, giving you more information. So this is going to be about 3 parts to this video. I'm going to break it down each round and address every question and break down all the answers and give you more insights and more information along the way. And I hope you enjoy. All right. So getting right into it. Breaking the code 364. And we got commentary that we're going to have with the brother Young Pharaoh. So I can, properly answer these questions. You can follow along with me this way. Going now.
Or precise. That's a good answer for that question. That's not a bad one, but
all right.
Basically, who was the first person that God ever inspired to write that book? And when? Enoch.
Okay, so this is his first question. Who did God inspire to write the Bible and what year? I said Enoch. The reason why I said Enoch, brothers and sisters, and for all those watching, is because Enoch is the first human being on this earth that has a written testimony and was given a written testimony from on high. And this is something I'm going to go into later on because this is very important to the whole discovery of the map that I gave in that presentation and everything about the book of Enoch and the book of Jubilees being the witnesses of the map that I've given you to prove this case. So I'm not going to go too much into detail on that right now. So follow along with me. He also goes further often to say, if God inspires someone to write this book, then first we need to be able to date when this happened. So think about this. If we have to date when this happened, you understand, then we have to realize that what he's asking you is to be able to have some type of proof in history. You understand, for all literature that we can prove some type of, pinpointed date proof on when we can pinpoint the creator, using what technology. What technology do we use to use this? Because when we're dealing with Young Pharaoh, we deal with a bunch of European educated sciences and technology. Keep in mind of this. I'm going to point this out and understand how his scholarship is really, European grafted, and he tried to make it make sense to you. So when we're talking about aging and dating things, I'm going to keep it straight to the scriptures and let you see what the scriptures have to say about when creation started, and this is about the book of Jubilees and things like that. All right, so this is his questions and concerns.
Okay, and what year?
This is before the flood.
All right, let me get there.
I want to go with Moses in this situation as far as the Old Testament. We're going to deal with Enoch. I would have to ask you, when did he inspire Enoch to write that book? And that would be my question.
Okay, next question. When did God inspire Enoch to write the book? Now, I'm going to be not too drawn out by this. I hope you hear in the background of what he's saying here. I just want you to understand this. All right. When did God inspire Enoch to write the book? The book of Enoch and the book of Jubilees are 2 books that were found in the Qumran caves right here in the land of Israel. The book of Jubilees gives you a detailed explanation on the birth of Enoch and his testimony here on the earth when he was here, and it's given to you on this wise. The book of Jubilees, chapter 14, verse 17 and 19, reads on this wise. And he was the first among men that are born on earth who learnt writing and knowledge and wisdom, and who wrote down the signs of heaven according to the orders of their months in a book, that men might know the seasons of the years according to the order of their separate months. And he was the first to write a testimony and testify to the sons of men among the generations of the earth, and recounted the weeks of the Jubilees, and made known to them the days of the years, and set them in order the months, and recounted the Sabbaths of the years as we made them known to him. And what was and what will be, he saw in a vision and of his sleep, as it will happen to the children of men throughout their generations until the day of judgment. He saw and understood everything and wrote his testimony and placed the testimony on earth for all the children of men for their generations. Now, for those who already don't know about the book of Enoch and the book of Jubilees, you don't specifically have to acknowledge this book. You don't have to acknowledge this reading, or forgive me, you may have not have been able to see the writing of this. Let me get this for you. Okay. So as you read along and understand, the book of Enoch and the book of Jubilees is very important, because the book of Jubilees is telling you this. Enoch was the firstborn, the first one born on earth who had learned writing, knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. And he wrote these things down and he gave them to his son, Methuselah. And Methuselah passed it down to Lamech, and Lamech passed it down to Noah, who was the one who was saved from the flood in the beginning. Now, you don't have to believe these scriptures at this particular point, but you will believe the book of Enoch and the book of Jubilees, and you will study these books after you understand the math that has been proven, and then you understand how powerful these scriptures are true, and how the powers that be today have always known about this and have kept this hidden from you in secret. You understand? So you're going to be able to realize this very soon, that this truth is something that you're going to have to accept. Now, going forward, this is what the book of Enoch has going to give you. This is the discovery that the Most High allowed me to receive on November 4th, 2016. This is what I broke down in the debate with the brother Young Pharaoh. This is the math of 364 days in a year. This can only be operated according to 364 days in a year, which gives you a perfect mathematical counting of the Sabbath of years. This is only a witness in the book of Enoch and the book of Jubilees. You understand? So once you really digest this understanding of this information right here and what I broke down in the debate with the brother Young Pharaoh, you'll realize that this is something that we have to pay attention to, and the world will acknowledge it without a shadow of a doubt, whether they like it or not. Okay, moving forward. All right. This next question: do you consider African people to be your brothers and sisters, or would you consider Africans to be brothers and sisters of Israelites? So this is his question, and my answer to this is no. I cannot give you a vague answer to saying Africans are my brothers and sisters, because we know that Africans, as understanding to being an Israelite, African is a term that are describing the children of Ham specifically. And so the oppressors, or those who you say give you the Bible, and he said he will tell you later on in this presentation that this was given to you from those of the British Crown and the Rothschilds. Well, I'll tell you one thing for sure: they gave you this dictionary right here. That's for sure. You see that British Crown right there? Yep. They gave you this dictionary right here. And in this dictionary, what do they do? What do they tell you? That Negroes are not Africans. Hold on. It's saying that, it quotes the book of, it says, Ham, the youngest son of Noah, born probably about 96 years before the flood, and one of 8 persons to live through the flood, he became the progenitor of the dark races, not the Negroes, but the Egyptians, Ethiopians, Libyans, and Canaanites. This is your Zondervan Bible Dictionary, given from those who you say have given us the Bible, right? So this is Ham, the progenitor of the dark races, not the Negroes. Who are the Negroes? Black Americans. Now, why are we not considered among the children of Ham and not considered amongst the progenitor of the dark races? You can go look this up for yourself. If they gave us the Bible, you understand? If they gave us the book and the definitions to describe the characters in the book that people said that they gave us, they tell you right here that Ham is the progenitor of the dark races, the African nations, but not the Negroes. Why are we classified even in the census with the dark races? Because we black like the Africans, but we don't look like Africans. And they would tell you it's because we've been over here, I'm in Israel, It's because we've been in, captivity in America for 400 years, and we've mixed with, the Europeans, and we're so mixed and all that, and so we look different. No, because you have dark-skinned people who have not been mixed. I don't care how you say somewhere down the line they've been mixed. It's some people in America, it's black people in America that are untainted and are just pure black. And by their facial features and their structures, they do not look like an African over here, you understand, on this side of the continent by facial features and facial structures. We particularly, as Israelites and black Israelite skinned people or brown skinned people, predominantly, we look specifically different from Africans. So we are not Africans. No, we are not. And so they are not specifically our brothers and sisters as Israelites. We come from Shem. We come from the line of Shem. They come from the line of Ham. We just so happen to be dark skinned with woolly hair, and we have a resemblance to the Africans. And the only African race that we were ever compared to in the Bible in any type of fashion was the Ethiopians. And I can tell you for sure that the Ethiopians are the only people that look like, when it comes down to black Americans, we can go hand in hand. It's no coincidence why, our forefather, King Solomon, seen Queen Sheba and fell in love with her beauty. The Ethiopians here in the land, they are very beautiful. The women are very beautiful, and they look like they can be some, some top-notch, African American sisters, some Hebrew sisters from America. So, and they don't look like the Africans, you understand? So they specifically have a different look from the Africans, but they're a part of the African race, you understand? So we're going to go off into the past of that on a note, but we're going to keep on moving forward. All right. So then he goes into the first black Israelite. You understand? He's saying that the black Israelites came from this brother right here named William Arthur Matthews, who is a West Indian immigrant in New York. Now, on his slide that he shows you when he's presenting this image of this brother and breaking this down as one of the points that he's trying to make, this person right here, he said, is born in Nigeria. And the person, so it says that he's born in Nigeria, but his records says otherwise. It says, according to his records, that he is from the British West Indies. And even right here in the beginning, it tells you that a West Indian immigrant, so that's not from Africa, for one. And for two, it's telling you that he's the founder of the Commandment Keepers back in 1919. I want you to keep note of this date. And he was incorporated in 1930 and moved to Brooklyn. Now, keep note of these dates. Founder of the Commandment Keepers in 1919 and incorporated in 1930 and moved to Brooklyn. Now, you're going to see that according to young Pharaoh, because he was all over the place with his presentation, he wasn't even able to understand what he was putting together. He was just juggling all over the place, and he's going to miss some points that was very key. So we can just throw that in the trash right now. So this guy, Arthur Matthews, who was born allegedly in Nigeria, was also known to be born in St. Kitts, British Indies. And so young Pharaoh said, since we as Hebrews stated that Africans are not our brothers and sisters, Africans, it was an African that actually, started the whole movement of Israelites. This is his whole understanding. Let me tell you like this, brothers and sisters. Israelites are scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. You cannot identify an Israelite by where they were born on this planet. You understand? Let's be clear to this. If your father is an Israelite, you are an Israelite. It don't matter your skin complexion or color. There are white people that look pure white, and it just so happen that they may just so happen to be Israelites. This may be hard for some people to understand, but you must understand genetics. You must understand skin, and you must be able to understand how these things go to be able to realize why the Most High says that following the law is what makes you a child of Israel, because you won't be able to pinpoint that in this particular time. But that's neither here nor there. His case is that this brother comes from Africa, and so we are just already on a different wave by even accepting something and they reject the Africans when this brother comes from Africa. So let's throw that in the trash right now. Then he goes right off into this. He goes from saying that the African movement started, the Israelite movement came from this African brother, and this started in 1919, keep in mind. But he jumps from that slide and goes into this. what we have to understand is when the Jews were being butchered by Hitler, he said they needed somewhere to go. So after World War II, which happened between 1939 and 1945, Israel became a state and May 14th, 1948. Now, if you remember, let's go back here to this. Let's open up this, again. Open up this piece of paper again. Israel became a state in 1948. Now, the people who call themselves Israelites today, the Jews today, they became in this land in 1948. And we have this black founder right here, Arthur Matthews, who founded his commandment keepers in 1919. So 1919, keep in mind, is a long time before 1948. I'm just throw that out there, get back to this other trash. So he said at that point in time, there were no black people moving around in America as the Hebrew Israelites. He said, so at that point in time, let me try to get this. Hold on 1 second for you. I got this. Let me get you right here. Okay.
After having this black identity crisis, black people started to
Wait. Where we at? Okay.
And is right here. Boom. Let me go to share screen.
So
what
this
we
is what
have to understand is when the Jews got done getting butchered by Hitler, okay, they needed somewhere to go. And so after World War II, Israel became a state in 1948 on May 14th. And so at this point in time, there were no black people, okay, in America moving around as the Hebrew Israelites.
Okay, so there you have it. There were no black people moving around as the Hebrew Israelites at this point in time, according to young Pharaoh. This is how his scholarship works, because he just showed you Arthur Matthews, and he's saying that we got this whole movement started from him, and it shows you in his slide that Arthur Matthews started his first congregation in 1919 and was incorporated in Brooklyn in 1930. So that is clearly way before May 14th, 1948. So how are you saying at this point in time there were no black people moving around as Hebrew Israelites, young Pharaoh? That's first trash put out there, you know what I'm saying? Boom. Let's put a boom to that one. Then he goes on further to say,
and what happened is, after having this black identity crisis, black people started becoming Christians, Muslims, Israelites, and then next we get 5%ers, Nuwapians. All these organizations started popping up in the black community. And the point I'm trying to make is, okay,
so there you have it. After 1948, according to young Pharaoh, all of these communities start popping up, all of these different functions start popping up amongst the black community. Christians, then we know Christianity was given upon us all the way back from the times of the beginning of slavery, or going all the way back into the 1600s, at least, you understand? So to even he just naming stuff and just saying all of this. So our whole spirituality as a black people derived after the Jewish people figured out that they wanted to say that they were the people who needed to be back into their land in 1948. Then black people started to say, oh, we want to be something too. We're going to just take on being Christians, Muslims, Israelites, 5%ers, Nuwapians. This is his philosophy. This is what he gave you. And he said, we just start popping up all over the place. Another piece of trash. Let's throw that in the garbage, okay? All right.
The black Hebrew Israelite.
He goes from that and to doing this.
Created by this man right here that I'm about to show. Okay? He is considered the father.
Okay, so he said all of this to say that the reason that he's saying all this is based on this fact. So he's jumping from one conclusion to the next. First, he told you that Arthur Matthews was the first black Israelite that from Africa who started the movement. Then he said that this really all started from the Jews coming over in 1948. You understand? And that's when the movement actually started. Then he goes on to say that he mentions all that to prove the point that the father of the modern Hebrew language, he's going to spend a lot of time speaking on the modern Hebrew language of today, being created by Eleazar ben Yehuda. You understand? And so let's hear what he got to say about this, because he's talking about the fact that the language was revived by this man in 1881. You understand? It became the national language of Israel in 1948. Now, he said no black people was included or thought of during this period of time. You understand? Now, if no black people was included or thought of during this period of time, we go back to the dates of Arthur Matthews, and we'll just crush it at that debate alone. But he's going to try to make an argument based off the fact of the Hebrew language, of modern Hebrew language being spoken. And so his case is this. He tells you that you have Orthodox Jews who consider the language to be a non-vernacular language which cannot be spoken. And then you have the modern Jews of today who speak this fictitious language who follow Ben Yehuda. Now, as far as the language of Hebrew today, as far as how it's being spoken, that is one thing. But as far as how it's being understood when you read it is another thing. We're not going to misconstrue these facts, but we're going to get down to the point of the matter. And I'm going to break that down more as he's jumping over this whole language translation, understanding, saying that it doesn't have any vowels, no original consonants. And so he's saying that black Hebrews speaking today are no more than followers of the black Africans that the black African came over here because he wanted to be the first rabbi. You understand? Because there was not any Jews considering black people. So this is his whole rhetoric talk. I'm not going to go too far off into that. I'm going to pass on past that to get into this. He goes on further to say, so when we say the original Jew, he said even that term is hypocritical, because he say if we call Jesus Yeshua, then that he said, how are we going to do that? Because there was no Jew if there was no letter J's. So now he's going into the trick terminology of having you thinking in your mind about letters and words and understandings of the Hebrew language and his modern translation when we already understand the modern translation, but he had no argument. So this is the point that he's proving to you, or now he's trying to prove to you, but I'm going to show you right now how this all goes when it comes down to letter J's and all of that. And so also he goes further to say, because, the interaction between Jacob and God renames Jacob Israel. He said, how would he do that? You understand? When it ain't no letter J's or, whatever he says in the Bible. So
I'm gonna jump back to the Bible.
Let's go to it real quick.
When we say who is the original Jew, even that term is, hypocritical. Because if we say Yeshua, they called Jesus Yeshua because there were no J's back then. How was a Jew if there was no J's back then? So what is the original terminology for how an Israelite would have addressed themselves? Because
so the original way an Israelite would have addressed themselves is the way you are seeing the Israelites today who are awakened. You understand? They are addressing themselves and they are picking back up the mantle or picking up the ancient way of speaking and interpreting the language. You understand what I'm saying? They're not acknowledging the modern way of being spoken of Hebrew today. And you understand the modern way of being spoken today, you understand, is a derivative of other different languages around. You understand, as far as the phonology of how the language is being pronounced. You understand, but as far as the actual symbols, see, in Hebrew letters is not just sound, it's symbols. With the symbols, especially in the ancient Hebrew, with the symbols alone, it has meaning. And with the meaning, you can formulate the words and understandings. And that's how they were able to read the ancient scrolls. And that's why the Orthodox don't want to speak the actual vocabulary of the words, because they actually feel like nobody's pronouncing it right. And on that level of things, to some degree, I believe that not everything being pronounced right as far as how they're saying it. So I don't stray away from that. As far as the wisdom of actually the scriptures being written in Hebrew and being able to be understood and read, that's a whole nother understanding. Because when you have like Aleph and Bet, the way they're shaped, even from the ancient times into modern times, the way it's shaped, it gives you the shape, you understand, to give you the root of the one and the all. And then you have the Bet, which is the shape of a house and the structure of a house. And when you put these first two letters together, this is common understanding. It formulates the first word, Abba. You understand? The Aleph and the Bet You understand? The father of the house. You understand? This is the meaning of this understanding. Aleph, Bet, Aleph. You understand? It gives you Abba. You understand? And so I'm not a professional with Hebrew. I understand a little bit more about it. I'm going to get into more details about the Hebrew breakdown, but you can read Hebrew better than you can actually speak it in today's time without a shadow of a doubt. And that's what they did in ancient times. So he's caught up on the actual language of Hebrew in modern times today, and this is his argument at this particular moment. We're going to get past that and make this more fun. All right. So he say,
we say God influenced the writing of the Bible, and in this book, there's an interaction between Jacob and God, where God,
okay, let's get here,
are man-made compositions. Because when it comes to God, if this,
okay, so he's telling you, I'm gonna just keep on. I'm not gonna go through all of this back and forth. I'm sorry, but these are man-made compositions that he's telling you, right? So if these are man-made compositions, because he said when it comes to God, but the book is inspired by God, why does every time God say something is out of context, right? Let me just let you listen.
Why does every time God say something, it's out of context with what exists at the time? I'll give you an example, right? Boom. In the Bible, it says, okay, or matter of fact, let me stay on point because I don't even want to go up.
Okay, so you see that? He just going all over the place and he just giving you points that he can't even stick on topic to. So he's, telling you that the Most High don't have something that he stays on context with, but he got no real evidence and he had to move on topic. So we're going to keep on moving on topic with that.
I'm going to keep, going back to what you said. Now you said, okay, the Bible is 6,000 years old, dealing with, the start of creation. Now, what we have to understand is the Bible, right? When we say it's inspired by God, if you look up who owns the copyrights to the Bible, because I have one right here, so I don't want nobody to think I'm making this up. As soon as you open it up, okay, you see copyrights.
Okay, so once again, he shows you copyrights from the book. He don't pull out a King James Bible. He shows you whatever Bible he got. But his argument, once again, on did God write the Bible is from an actual human being literary term saying that God come down physically and print out us a book physically for us to be able to look at an ancient book from the past that we can carbon date. We can, put water erosion dating to it, that he didn't give us this book. So every copy that everybody got in their home, he's saying that, ain't no way the Most High literally came and issued out a copy and wrote an application to get the book copyrighted. This is pure ignorance. If anybody was feeding off of this and understanding this, you will realize this is just, I don't have anything to say. I don't know what to go off of. He didn't know what I was about to be able to present. You understand? He wasn't prepared for that. So therefore, he was giving you information and stuff like that you really wasn't catching on to, that really wasn't making any sense at all. But let's go further into it. All right. So he said that this book, why is this important? He said this is coming from the Rothschilds. Hold on, let me make sure that you see on the screen. Okay, yeah. All right. So why is this important? Because all of the information that we have, all the historical institutes are allegedly taught from the British Rothschilds and the Crown. I mean, the Rothschilds and the British Crown. So he's telling you that they own the Egyptian society, they own the historical institutes and all history. So if this is the case, then young Pharaoh always is teaching you history from a people that he's already admitting gave you everything. So if they gave us the Bible and they gave you the Egyptology understanding with all the things that you want to symbolize as far as Egypt, they gave you that whole understanding. They gave you your institutes. We speak English. You understand? Everything that you read is in English. And if you don't speak any other languages, then you still speaking a language given to you from the people who own all of these historical institutes. So how can you reteach a people something and just disclaim a portion of what these people gave and give credit to everything else? So when you're talking about the sciences and when you're talking about the water erosions, who are the black people that are actually doing this? What laboratory do black people have that's actually verifiable and we can actually say that their actual information is credible? None. To that point in that degree. So everything that's dealing with sciences and dating stuff back is coming from these people who own these societies, the British Crown and the Rothschilds. So when he holds true to this information and then denies another particular information, it lets you know, brothers and sisters, that y'all, if y'all follow this information, y'all following a deep rabbit hole down a path of getting some good information somewhere, but being lost in altogether the whole format of what you really need to be understanding, which is what I was trying to give you. So he said, why is this important? Because the Caucasian genome is only 6,000 years old. And he says, now we can prove beyond a reasonable doubt that black people have been here way longer than 6,000 years. Now, I want to ask everybody, how can we prove without a reason, beyond a reasonable doubt, that black people have been on this earth way longer than 6,000 years without any technology used by the people who own everything, such as the British Crown and the Rothschilds? I want to know what information can we base it on that we can prove that black people been here so long without just feeling like that, when we don't got no laboratories to use the sciences that they use to prove this information that they giving you. And so, the point he's trying to make is, he concludes, the Bible is a Masonic book used to record the astrological happenings and the secret alleged historical events of Masons on this planet within the time period which they exist. This is his words. This is his understanding. After breaking down to you, you understand the root of Israelites being started from African, Arthur Matthews. Then for it originated in 1948 with the Jewish people coming into the land, and that's when the identity crisis started. Then from the language being bogus and being originated from a man named Ben Yehuda and not existing. Then for him saying that the Rothschilds and that family is behind all of the educational institutes, just to go on to say that after all of that, he can prove without a reasonable doubt that black people have been on this planet for 6,000 years. And then from all of that, he goes on to say, to conclude, that the Bible is just a Masonic book used to record astrological happenings and secret alleged historical events of Masons on this planet within the time period which they existed. That is the most craziest thing in the world. How do you get from all that information a conclusion that the Bible is a book of Masonic astrological happenings? And so what does he use to prove this point? Let's see. He says that no man or no woman has been here for 6,000 years, and that the Caucasians created that. When we say that the Bible is 6,000 years old and that's the start of creation, who creation is that? He said, you understand? He said, so when we're talking about the calendar, that's 6,000 years and all that, that's detrimental to it because that's the Caucasian calendar, he said. And so he wants to go off into the Rosh Hashanah after this. But before we go there, brothers and sisters, let's go here. According to the scriptures, the Most High's time is 1,000 years to a man's day. So this is the revelation I'm going to break forth to you right now. Hold on, before I get here, let me talk to you for a second, okay? When we're dealing with the Most High's time is not like man's time. When the Most High created earth, he created earth according to his time. So 6 days in earth creation is 6 days according to man. But we know that 6 days for the Most High in his creation was 6,000 years. So I'm going to show you how the spiritual math and the wisdom of the Bible will give you a real unique math equation close figuratively to what they give you scientifically using their carbon dating and all of that. So when I say that the earth, and when I said that man has been on earth for 6,000 years, starting from the 6 days that we was created on earth, and people was all wowed out by that, they like, oh man, that he lost me from right there. Well, I'm going to show you something that you never seen before, and I'm going to give you some math that may interest you from this point on, and when it comes down to that understanding, maybe you may think twice about it. So here you go with this understanding. First off, I'm going to point out to you the fact that the Most High said that 1,000 years is to a day. He emphasized this in many places. I'm going to show you in 3 different places of the scriptures where he specifically points this out. All right. Psalms 90 and 4 reads on this wise. For 1,000 years in thy sight are but as yesterday when it is past, and as a watch in the night. 2 Peter chapter 3, verse 8. Sleep God. But beloved, be not ignorant of this one thing, that one day is with the Lord as 1,000 years, and 1,000 years as one day. The book of Jubilees, chapter 4, verse 30. And he lacked 70 years of 1,000 years, for 1,000 years are as one day in the testimony of the heavens, and therefore was it written concerning the tree of knowledge, on that day ye eat thereof, ye shall die. For this reason he did not complete the years of this day, for he died during it. Now, if you don't know about the book of Enoch or the book of Jubilees, you wouldn't know that. First off, hold on one second. In the book of Genesis, it tells you that our ancestors were living for hundreds of years. Now, our forefather Adam lived for 930 years. It's telling you right here in the scriptures that he was short 70 years of completing 1,000 years, specifically because no human being was allowed to live 1,000 years on this planet, because 1,000 years is equivalent to one day. And so when they ate their fruit, that forbidden fruit that the Most High told them not to eat, and he said, "In this day ye shall die." The devil, when they said the devil was telling the truth and the Most High was lying, is because they said that when they ate the fruit, they didn't die. That's what they was twisted at. But the truth is that they did die in that day. That day for the Most High, when he said it was 1,000 years. So nobody lived to be 1,000 years. The only person that lived was Methuselah, who lived to be 969 years old. You understand? No human being lived to be 1,000 years, which will be a full day with the Most High, according to his time. He's painting this out to you from the beginning. So now that we understand this understanding of the Most High time compared to ours, and how he do things for these reasons, and then he cut down our years to completely be away from his time, I'm going to show you something very unique that's never been revealed before. All right. Here is the age of the earth according to man's science. According to man's science, the earth is 4.5 billion years old. How do they find this age? They find this age by carbon dating uranium decay to lead in rocks. You understand? So they use rock decay of uranium to lead, and they try to age the earth the best way as possible. They use this technology that they have come up with to be able to date the earth as back as far as 4.5 billion years old. Now here's the kicker. They even try to date water. Water for them goes back as old as 3.8 billion years old. So when you have young Pharaoh saying water erosion and all that stuff gives dates, I wanted to ask young Pharaoh, how old is water? Science says water is this old. Well, water has no age. The Bible doesn't confirm that. But what I'm going to show to you is that in the first beginning of creation, first off, the sun, moon, and the stars was created on the fourth day. So that's how we tell time. We tell time by the sun, moon, and the stars, and that in the book of Genesis was created on the fourth day. So that alone will let you know that the first 3 days of creation was before time. So earth was created on earth was brought out of the waters on the third day. The physical ground of the earth, but the waters and everything was all in the process on the first through the third day. And these days was before time. So when I say that the sun, moon, and stars was created on the fourth day, and the Most High goes forth in time and it went back into the past for the scriptures, for the sake of letting you know that this was the length of the first day, this was the length of the second day, and this was the length of the third day. So this is how he did that. So therefore, the earth doesn't age according to the sun, moon, and the stars, because the earth started its process before the sun, moon, and stars was created. Therefore, you cannot age the earth day to day in a 24-hour span period like man. Science didn't understand this. Science missed this point. So when they age the earth, they don't know that the earth itself has to be aging 1,000 years to a day. Now, how can we also understand this philosophy and understand it? We can understand this simply because It's creatures on this earth, like a dog, for example. A dog in 1 year, we say a dog years, that's 7 years. Because they speed up the age and the growth of their years and their intelligence life. It's some creatures on this earth that live for 1 day. But for them in their time and for them in their lifespan, that's many years because they could be a small little creature or something like that. But the earth has to be able to live longer and outlast the lifespan of anything that lives on it, no matter what time frame it's in. We can't compare it to just man years. So therefore, the earth accommodates all life that lives upon it and inside it, and it itself ages 1,000 years to a day. It was created before the sun, moon, and stars. And so with that math, 1 day, which is 1,000 years of the Most High's time, you understand that is equivalent to 364 days, which is 1 year of man's time. That will be 364,000 years for the Most High in 1 year. So this is the math I want you to see, biblical science. You take that 364,000 years and you add that to the first 60. First off, you take the earth and man's time. Man's time is 6 days of creation, right? Before we were on earth, and that's equivalent to 6,000 years for the earth time. Now we have on the 6th day we are created. We have been on this earth for up to 6,000 years now, physically on this earth on our time. So for in earth years, you would say that's a total of 12,000 man years for the earth according to our time of looking at it. But the earth don't age like how we look at it. So therefore the math would be as follows: 12,000 years times 360,000 years, which would give you 4.3 billion years. This is just using Bible science, brothers and sisters. Now, if you're missing this point, I'm gonna come back to this. I don't want to stay too much on this because I don't want to get those who are not good with math too lost up in this math. But understand that this is just using math biblical logic to get you the same answer to get you a close answer similar to math science. Carbon dating of 4.5 billion years on this earth, according to biblical science, just using simple understanding and the Most High's logic, will get you 4.3 billion years old on this 4.3 billion years of this earth's age on this planet according to its time. This has never been discovered before. This is something I'm breaking down to you for this first time. You cannot Google this once again. Going further, he goes off next to say, because when you're dealing with astrological means and you're dealing with Moses or the Rosh Hashanah, he says, so you see right here, you got the beginning of the zodiac wheel, right? So I'm not gonna just keep on quote. I got something right here. I got him right here, and let me just go ahead and let you hear his own words with this as well. 1 second. Okay.
Since they say Moses, was influenced to write the Bible, we have to go into why they say God wrote the Bible. Did God say, why they say God influenced Moses to write the Bible? All right, and why we dealing with 6,000 years? Because when you're dealing with astrological means, and we're dealing with Moses, or we're dealing with the Rosh Hashanah, we see that right here, the beginning of the zodiac wheel, or the rising part of the wheel, is Aries.
Okay, so I'm just pointing this out to you, and I want you to see this right here because this is the part of the slide. We had 43 minutes and 14 seconds in on the slide. Okay, that's where this part is of the section of the slide at. He's so tangled into his presentation that when he gets to this point and he says, because when you're dealing with the astrological means and when you're dealing with Moses and Rosh Hashanah, he said, you see right here, he's showing you a slide, but he's referring to another slide that he's talking about. But on the screen, he's showing you a slide of the Moses history and the ram horn. This is stuff that he's just getting off of online and stuff like that. But he's trying to explain something to you. And so while he got this screen up, he says, you see right here, the beginning of the zodiac wheel, where the rising part of the wheel is Aries. Okay, we don't see a wheel on the screen. There's no rising, part of the zodiac or nothing like that. We just see a horn on the screen. Okay.
This is also the first month of the Jewish year. Now, when you go, in the Bible, the Exodus chapter 2, verse 2, chapter 12, verse 2.
Okay, so that already is a mistake. He's all over the place. Now he goes next into saying Exodus chapter 12, verses 2. He reads off into that scripture where it's talking about when the Most High quotes to Moses that this month shall be unto you the beginning of months. It shall be the first month of the year unto you. Now, brothers and sisters, when you go into the scriptures, the Most High didn't classify exactly what month. So when you're thinking about January through December, the Bible, it didn't classify where, it didn't pinpoint where the month is at. So what he's trying to do is he's going to pinpoint for you where this month is at, and this is the reference that he's going to use.
So you see, God allegedly tells astrological sign, which is Aries.
Now, this is what he uses for you. He goes right to this next slide right here, and he shows you this slide saying that when you go to the first month or the rising sign of the zodiac year, you see Aries, right? Now, what he's trying to show to you is a graph that he's got from not even talking about Moses. As you see at the top, it says Jesus' history and the fish allegory. This ain't even got nothing to do with Moses. He's just pulling out slides and just showing you and just jumping from topic to topic. And he's trying to tell you, but when you go to the first month, which month is the first month? When you just go to Aries, you don't see any count on this circle saying from 1 to 12. You also don't see on this circle that he's got you shown, that he shows you anything showing January through December, and anything classifying when the beginning or the ending of the month. So you can only assume that by looking at the picture that when he points to Aries, that that's supposed to be showing the sign of the beginning of the month, getting ready to turn over on the top of the wheel. I have it. He didn't explain it. He just went through it, showing it to you. And so his point after saying that was that wait, this is what he said.
The first month of that year you see is Aries. But Moses in the Bible, okay, is nothing more than the astrological sign, which is Aries. Now,
okay, so that's his last point after showing you this clip, after showing you this right here, and pointing to Aries and saying that that's the first part or whatever he just said, and showing you a slide, like I remind you, that says Jesus' history and the fish allegory. He's using something that ain't got nothing to do with this. His conclusion is, but Moses is nothing more than an astrological sign, which is Aries. This is the evidence that he's showing you, brothers and sisters. This evidence is coming from European studies and some type of person who is nitpicked and tried to find some type of crazy, and he just putting it all together and he just made a case for you, and everybody was just running with it. Yeah. No. Further.
Here's an original depiction of Moses. As you can see, he's not depicted as black, but also what I want you to notice is he's depicted with ram horns. Now I
want you to notice that he just said, here's an original depiction of Moses. So here is young Pharaoh telling you that here is an original depiction of Moses. And he said the depiction is not black, and he's depicted with ram horns. Now this is where it's going to get real at. Okay, who told you that this is an original depiction of Moses? Where you get this picture from? I tell you where he get this picture from. This picture is commissioned by Pope Julius II back in 1505. You understand? And he depicted this picture of Moses, of course, European, in 1505 from the Latin Vulgate Bible as a description of Moses having horns, right? Is what young Pharaoh is about to try to use as evidence. But I'm going to show you how crazy this is right here. First off, how much credit do you give your scholarship to say that here's an original depiction of Moses? Well, how much faith do he give these who he say gave us the book? He tells you that this is an original depiction of Moses. According to who? According to what sources? Because they told you that this is an original depiction of Moses. What in the world would make you believe that this is an original depiction of Moses in the scholarship world of understanding? Then obviously he's not black. The color, the statue is not even painted. It is anyway. It's a marble colored structure, so it doesn't have any color at all to it. It don't matter what color he was to be depicted in the first place, obviously. And then him having ram horns is something that they embellish, and I'm going to show you how they do this.
You read the Latin Vulgate, okay, which was here before the King James Bible. When you do the translation on the description of Moses into English, when you go to Exodus chapter 34, verses 29 to 35, you can see it's written in Spanish, and I don't speak Spanish. But
okay, so now he goes to the Latin Vulgate. to prove his case. He goes to Exodus chapter 34, verse 29 through 35. He tells you he doesn't read Spanish, so he doesn't know what he's actually searching for. He's researching something that can contradict anything that he feels like somebody else, has put any research that somebody else says contradicted information towards the Bible. He had took that and put it in a PowerPoint and used that as evidence, but it doesn't make any sense. Why would you be trying to search for something that you can't read? You can't even read the paragraph. So how you gonna go into the Latin Vulgate? You can't read Spanish, and how do you know what this word in context is if you don't know the language? You understand? And how do you only use this? He's only going to use this reference, so he don't show you what it says in English. He's only going to show you what it says in this Latin Vulgate, and I'm going to bust this wide open.
You do the translation on it, you can see it describes Moses as having a cornuta or a canute. Now, when you do the description on that, it says a cornuta, right, is any horned animal.
Okay, so look at his basic resources of finding a description for something and looking up his information on languages. He don't know any other languages, never tried to learn any other language, so he don't understand the context of languages. I'm going to give you a breakdown on a synopsis on how language can be mistaken from culture to culture. So here you have this guy breaking down a language he doesn't understand, and then in definition, it gives you any horned animal. Okay, trash. Exodus chapter 34, verse 29 through 35 in the English King James. For those who can't read another language, we're going to start here. It reads, "And it came to pass when Moses came down from Mount Sinai with the 2 tablets of testimony in Moses' hand, when he came down from the mount, that Moses winced not, that the skin of his face shone while he talked with him." Now, I know that what he's pointing out with the cornuta, it's only referencing the skin of his face shining. It got nothing to do with a horn. It got everything to do with the skin of his face shining. You understand? When he's seen and he spoke and he's seen the powers of the divine, he came out and his face was shining. So in verse 30, it emphasizes it again where the skin of his face shone. You understand? Verse 35, it's talking about the skin of his face shone. Got nothing to do with a crown, a horn. It got nothing to do with a horn or anything like that, right? Now, here's in Hebrew. In Hebrew, the word that he specifically could only be talking about in connection or correlation to the cornuta, which is talking about horn, because it's only the way the words in Hebrew can formulate that it would appear horn in it. But when it comes down to the sentence is basically this. It's talking about, like, I just cut the sentence in half, but it's saying the same thing in English. And right here, basically, Kikaron or Pene Moshe. Now, because modern Hebrew, I may not be speaking that right. The meaning of the words is this. 1 second. The meaning of the words is this. Kikaron is talking the foundation. And this word right here, it's basically saying skin. And Pani is face, Moshe. So it's basically telling you that the foundation of his face, of the skin of his face shone. It got nothing to do with a horned animal. It got nothing to do with a horn. The horn is talking, and horn, and another definition for horn in English is saying like crescent. Like the crescent of a moon, like a shining light. You understand? So this is what is really breaking down, is what is really telling you according to the scripture. But he used this verse that he can't read in Spanish, and it told you that is talking about a horn, and that's astrological. Makes absolutely no sense, absolutely garbage and ridiculous. So understand that when you go to these scriptures right here, what he's pointing out to you is this, brothers and sisters. Nothing to do with a horn, got nothing to do with anything he's talking about, got everything to do with his face shining, the foundation of his face shining, and the skin of his face. Okay, so let's break that trash right out the door. Next, he says, so here's the trick question. Okay.
If God influenced,
hold on, I got to get it for you.
And coming back to these points, when we're talking about did God write the Bible? Here's the trick question here. If God influenced Moses to write the Bible, okay, or the Old Testament, and Moses wrote the Old Testament in Hebrew, here's the question. The Hebrew language came out 2nd century BC.
Okay. Did you catch this? The Hebrew language, according to young Pharaoh, came out. I hope that, man, which y'all not seeing my screen. He say the Hebrew language came out in the 2nd century BC. So since the Hebrew language came out in the 2nd century BC, hold on, young Pharaoh. First off, I thought the Hebrew language didn't exist. That's for one. For two, I thought the Hebrew language was created by Ben Eliezer, Ben Yehuda in 1881. Now you have your resources, whatever the sources, you don't give us the resources for where this comes from. But now your sources tell us that the Hebrew language was created in the 2nd century BC. So now he's going off onto you to some more regurgitated information from the scholarships of where we find this information from, but he's laying it down as facts for you. You understand? Because people say that they learned a lot from this. So I'm trying to figure out what you all learned from him telling you something that's not real, something that never existed. If it never existed, then at the point of its existence, when it started in the 2nd century BC, then from the 2nd century BC, you had people from that time period up until 2020 right now disproving the fact that the language ever existed in the first place. I'm just trying to find the logic in this. You understand? I'm just really trying to find the logic in this. All right. So continue on. He said,
but according to, Hebrewish and Jewish history, God influenced Moses to write the Bible about 14th century BC. So that's literally 1,000 years before the Hebrew language came out.
Okay. So he said, according to Hebrewish Jewish history, God influenced Moses to write the Bible about 14th century BC. Now, keep in mind, he forgot that this whole time that I told him in the beginning that Enoch was the first to write the scriptures. But because he didn't know anything about Enoch and he don't know anything about Enoch, he has told you and referred you back to Moses being the first one to be inspired to write in the book and the scriptures. And then he tells you from the language coming out in 2nd century BC and Moses writing the book in 1400 BC, he may have misunderstood that because 1400 BC versus 2nd century BC, you're talking about a 12th century difference. So maybe he was talking about 1,000, 1,400. I don't know what he was trying to say, how he was trying to put it. But he also goes further to say this.
So here's the question. How did Moses write a book in a language that did not exist? So if Hebrew came out 1,000 years after Moses, how did he write down the words of God in a language that he did not exist?
Okay, so I don't want to go off into much into all of this, on him steady going off into the language not existing and all of that stuff because it's not important. And so he contradicted himself once again, saying, so Moses wrote the Bible 300 years before the alphabet even existed. He's just running off at the mouth at this point. Okay, so here's the ripple effect. He says the Phoenician alphabet goes right back to the Rothschilds and these elites who own all these institutions. And they concocted all these histories together in order to fit the 6,000 years, which really didn't exist. Because if we say that God influenced and inspired the Bible, why would God incorrectly document his own process of creation? Because we know genetically a woman was here before a man, according due to her chromosome. I got to get that part for you.
6,000 year continuum, which doesn't really exist. Because if we say God influenced, or inspired the Bible, why would God incorrectly document his own process of creation? Because we know genetically a woman was here before a man due to her chromosome structure.
Okay, so I want to figure out where this science come from. He's saying we know genetically a woman was here before man due to her chromosome structure. What laboratory did this come out of? What science lab did we find this information from? How do we know this with a confidence that he's giving it to you? You understand? On one end, he tell you that these people who run everything, who gave you all this type of stuff, they backwards, that they give you everything and they lied to you and they gave you a history that ain't yours and all this, that, and the other. But on the other end, he like, they absolutely correct when it comes down to the woman being first, and they talking about her chromosomes. You ain't in the laboratory fixing or finding nothing out about nobody's chromosomes. And you can hold dear to this information and say for a fact, we know that the woman has been here first. Okay, if the woman has been here first, then how did she survive? How did she know how to nurse the first baby? We ain't even gonna get into all of that. You understand? But also, before I want to make a point real quick. I lost this point real quick. So going back real quick to that point with the Canunta situation, because he was all over the place with that. Now, you have somebody trying to break down the Moses having a horn, Canunta, or whatever like that in the description of Latin Vulgate. This is no different from Europeans not understanding the terminology of Black people today and the way we use our language today, and trying to interpret it in the future times when it's really not for them to interpret, but only a person of the original seed can really decipher this information. Example, let's say in today's time, I write a book and I say, let's quote a sentence from the book, and I say, I was riding in my whip down the street. I was riding my whip down the street. So, years down the line, you may have a European child, right, that may pick up this book and have to do a book study and a book report on this book. And they may have to interpret the book and then write down the meaning of what that phrase of that sentence is saying. Now, if he don't understand the culture of our people, this European person or this other nation, person may say, I was riding my whip down the street. Because Black people, we use words that's not actually the actual definition. We use it in different ways to switch up our understanding of how we use a word in English. We understand whip for many different things. Now, the actual definition of how you would use whip is to be, stirring something up or something like that. Whipped cream or something like that is what a white person would probably think about. But in all actuality, you understand? So they were probably trying to figure out how to fix this sentence instead of trying to realize what it really meant, right? The first thing they would try to do is try to fix the sentence and make it understandable for them. Okay, he really must have really meant that he was riding with his whip down the street. You understand? It made more sense to him that you had a whip and that you was riding with down the street, because he can't, in his mind, he can't think about attaching that whip to a car. But we know as Black people, we'll just say, we understand a whip to be something we attach to whipping and bending corners. You know what I'm saying? Hitting the block. You understand? But you have to know the culture for that. So you have to have a Black person in the future who will read the sentence and be like, no, he don't mean, he had a whip. You understand? Riding down the street. He means that his whip was the car that he was riding down the street with. And it would have to take an Israelite, to come around and make clarity to that. So this is a simple mistake that you will have with a European taking a translation such as the Canunta and exaggerating that, because of the Canunta, which is describing Moses' face, mind you, is describing the texture and the foundation of his face, they put the horns on his head. Now the horns and your head and your face is two different locations. But this is what they would do, because in their mind, they don't understand how to conceptualize what the meaning of the horn was. And they know the horn can only go on the top of the head. Logically, from their standpoint of a human being, then they put an image of a sculpture with him having horns on his head, but it's only describing his face. So you understand, they missed the whole understanding, and they gave you an image that's not even depicted in the actual translation. So I just wanted to point that out to you, because I forgot to give you that example, and you needed to understand that. So moving forward, all right, I want to just talk about perception. Perception is this. Perception is, some of you may be looking at this dress right here, and you may be seeing a gold dress. Wait a minute. Some of you may be looking at this dress right now, right? Now, this dress, this was a whole viral situation that came out and everybody was baffled by it. I was in my master's degree colleges in school at the particular time, and my professor pulled this up on the screen. But this how big of a situation it was. Now, for those of you who are looking at the screen right now, and you're seeing a gold and white dress, understand that the image I have in front of you is really a black and blue dress. This is the actual color of this dress that you're looking at right now. The reason why you're seeing a yellow and this is what you're seeing. You're seeing a yellow and white dress. This is a still image of it. You understand? This is perception that they have just discovered in science that they're still baffled with, brothers and sisters. They are still baffled with this understanding. Hold on. Let me talk to you for a second. So with this dress right here, they are baffled with the understanding that the human mind has a perception. It's telling you something. If you don't see this dress for this original image as blue and black, that means that your eye is being naturally deceived. It's capable of naturally being deceived just by light perception. That means that you don't see the truth right here. The truth is that this dress is black and blue. But if you can only see this dress as gold and white, then that means this is not no knock to anybody. You understand? This is something we have to understand that the Most High did this. You're not naturally able to see the truth in front of your eyes. There's something blocking your perception of seeing true reality. And so therefore, for those who don't see the true reality, it may be a little harder for you to understand true things in life that come to reality. It should just challenge you to really want to understand why. And it must be something we can fix. You understand? But the reality of the matter is, we all thought that we saw things the same until something like this came out. Then we realized, we all don't see truth clearly the same. Because the truth is one thing, and we literally can see two different things. Why is this the case? Why now? Why now do we have to understand perception versus truth? Perception is something that we want to believe because of how we see it. That doesn't mean that it's true. What's true is what's true. You can argue me up and down that this dress right here that you're looking at on the left side of the screen is white and gold. You can argue me up and down all you want to because your eyes just will not allow you to see this truth. So you can't help yourself but to argue me up and down. You can be in disbelief until other witnesses come and show you technology that helps you to prove to you that this is what you're actually looking at. So this is how it is with the scriptures. Some people just can't get the understanding of what they're knowing to be the truth, regardless if you're putting it right in their face. I showed you the math, and some people don't understand it still because they're so used to listening and being soaking up all of this regurgitated information from young Pharaoh that they couldn't really grasp the picture of what I was showing, which is so important. The math that I was proving is shown from the book of Enoch that the year is 364. It's shown from the book of Jubilees that the year is 364. They know this truth. You understand? So he ends with this. How is God's words able to be interpreted and documented when there was no language? Yada, yada, yada. He goes all back and forth into the language and this, that, and the other. And he ends with saying, that's like saying God sent Eve a text message. Trash. Okay? Let's just shred it. Completely shred it in the trash. Now, here you have what I'm going to show you right here is that Hollywood has already been knowing about the book of Enoch and the book of Jubilees for quite a long time. That because you don't have it in your Bible, because they took it out your Bible and didn't make it for you to read, don't mean that they took it out of history. They've been showing it to you. They've been showing you who their gods are. They've been showing you who they worship. these fallen angels. They know their story very intimately and very well. And they've been giving you entertainment with it without you even knowing the details. So when I even speak about Enoch, you don't even know about him. But you have no idea that you've been so influenced by these people who know these stories deeply and kept it from you, these secrets, these hidden secrets, because they know about the truth that can't be denied, that the true children of Israel, you understand, we were chosen by the Most High, and he gave us truth that can't be denied from the four corners of the earth. So what I'm about to show you right here is a video that you should be very familiar with, and you're going to find out where this comes from. All right. They hid the book of Enoch and put it in movies. Why I say that? You've seen this before, right? All right. Now, everybody has definitely seen that before. Now, why did I show you this? I showed you this, brothers and sisters, because right there is a paramount picture image of this very scripture. This is where they get this from. You didn't know it, but this is coming straight out of the book of Enoch, chapter 6, verse 1 through 6. If you didn't know that the entertainment and those stars symbolize the fallen angels falling from heaven and wrapping around Mount Hermon in an agreement to do what they did on this earth, then now you shall know. This is why you should take heed to this book. So the book of Enoch reads on this wise. And it came to pass when the children of men had multiplied that in those days were born unto them beautiful and comely women, daughters. And the angels, the children of heaven, saw and lusted after them, and said to one another, come, let us choose wives from among the children of men, and begat us children. And Samajah, who was their leader, said unto them, I fear ye will not indeed agree to do this deed, and I alone shall have to pay the penalty of this great sin. So they wanted to come down here and dibble and dabble with the Most High's creation, but he didn't want to do it alone. So he like, man, look, y'all got to do this with me. If I'm going to go down here and do this, and we're going to do this, let's do it together. He's talking to the other angels that came with him. Verse 2. The next section. And they all answered him and said, let us all swear an oath and bind ourselves by mutual imprecations, not to abandon this plan, but to do this thing. Then swear they all together and bound themselves by mutual imprecations upon it. Key. And they were in all 200 who descended in the days of Yared on the summit of Mount Hermon. And they called it Mount Hermon because they had sworn and bound themselves by mutual imprecations upon it. Wow. You're not going to read this in your King James Bible, but they're going to show you what's in the stories. I keep on making this mistake. Y'all didn't see that screen. Let me go back to the screen for you. Okay. Now, you're not going to see this in your King James, but you're going to see this right here in the book of Enoch, where they've been trying to hide from you. That they've been entertaining you with stuff like this all this time. And they've been showing you right here that they know who the fallen angels are, and this is who they worship. You understand? This comes straight from there, and they give you this entertainment. Now, further on the flip side of that, here you got the movie X-Men. I'm pretty sure a lot of you have seen this. And in this movie X-Men, this is the second X-Men, if I'm not mistaken, or X-Men First Class. They have a character in there who is a demon that basically can disappear and appear wherever he wants to appear, and by will. His name is Azazel. Now, it just so happens that for y'all entertainment, he's just a X-Men character that Hollywood made up. You wouldn't know that he's not a Hollywood character that they made up, but he's in fact the actual character mentioned as one of the fallen angels in the book of Enoch. And in fact, only in the book of Enoch specifically can you really find reference to his name, but they have given you him as a character, and your Hollywood films that you love that will take the children to watch and see, and you don't even know why he's red with the tail like the devil, and his name is Azazel. But here's the book of Enoch, chapter 8, where you can read about Azazel. And he is this. And Azazel taught men to make swords and knives and shields and breastplates and make known to them the metals of the earth and the art of working them and breastplates and ornaments and the use of anatomy and the beautifying of the eyelids and all kinds of costly stones and all coloring tinctures. And there arose much godliness, and they committed fornication, and they were led astray and became corrupted in all their ways. So this is what the fallen angel Azazel attributed to mankind back in the days before the flood. He gave mankind war, weapons of war, and showed them how to use these things. He gave women adornments of showing them how to make bracelets and the use of anatomy such as contraception and how to, abort babies, the beautifying of the eyelids, costly stones and stuff like that. This is all accredited to this guy right here, Azazel. And so right here in the land of Israel, where I am located, his name in Hebrew is used as a curse word. And they don't even know that his name, by using it as a curse word, they don't even know that it originates from him being a fallen angel written in the book of Enoch. So here in the land of Israel, his name is, if you say Azazel in Hebrew, that's how you say his name, and that's how you mention and pronounce it, how you saying it. It means, it's like telling someone, go to hell. So you say Azazel, and that's like saying, go to hell. You understand, in Hebrew. And this is a person who's from the book of Enoch, a character who is a fallen angel who gave man all these devices and technologies. Fast forward to the scriptures, where the book of Isaiah, chapter 33, verses 16 through 25, it gives you the details of the Most High striking the daughters of Zion because of these lingering spirits. It's not going to tell you that it could because of Azazel, but it's going to be that you will see from the description of the last, right here, you will see that this is describing you all the spiritual things that he have left on this earth since the beginning of from the first flood. Verse 16, moreover, the Lord saith, because the daughters of Zion are haughty and walk with stretched forth necks and wanted eyes, walking immensely as they go and making and tinkling with their feet. Therefore, the Lord will smite with a scab the crown of their head, the crown of the head of the daughters of Zion, and the Lord will discover their secret parts. So this is what the Most High is telling you, that the Hebrew sisters, they will be raising their heads up high. You understand? They will be feeling like, what we see it today. You understand? A lot of our women are becoming above themselves and not seeing how we should be strengthening the man, because the man needs to be able to know that the woman is not looking just for money. See, nowadays, the woman is looking for money, and she's looking for the guy who can get her a Birkin bag and all this type of stuff. And so you got guys killing themselves to try to please these women for these things, who hold their heads up high to be able to get these things. But the Most High say, I'm going to smite them with the scab of the crown of their head, meaning that you're not going to have hair flowing down the back of your back naturally, black daughter Zion. You understand? You're going to have a bald head, and you're going to have to put weave in your hair. You understand? You're going to have to put weave in your hair, and you're not going to be able to have flowing locks of hair going down like all the other nations that all around you surround you. And you're going to adorn yourself with bracelets and chains and bonnets and ornaments and leg bands and all that type of stuff. You're going to do all of that type of stuff, nose rings and all that type of stuff, changeable suits of apparel, all of this type of stuff you're going to do. Glasses and shades, fine linens, hoods with the veils. You understand? This is what it's describing. So it's not throwing no knock at the women, but this for all the women that are out there that love Cardi B, love all of these other women that's out here that's giving you this sexual demonic image, and all these women that's out here that's painting you this picture that you need to be with a boss and all that type of stuff. But the man ain't got to have no education. The man ain't got to have the spirit of the Most High in him at all. All he got to do is be able to provide you these things, and you good. And so the Most High says that it shall come to pass that instead of sweet smell, instead of all that good smell of perfume, there shall be stink. And instead of a girdle, a rent. And instead of a well set hair, baldness. and instead of a stomacher, a girding of sackcloth, and burning instead of beauty. So right here, the Most High saying, because of all of these things, because of this time that we are in, if our sister's not getting that picture, you understand? He says, instead of long hair, I'm going to make you have a bald head. Instead of having a natural body smell on your skin, you're going to have to douse yourself in perfume. Instead of having a nice stomach that wrap back together after you have as many babies as the Most High allow you to have, you're going to have a rope to wrap around that thing because your stomach going to be hanging out. Instead of you understand, instead of you having a naturally beautiful face, you're going to be burdened with acne and all this type of stuff. And you're going to have to cover your face all the time with makeup. And with all of that being said and done, verse 25, what he says, thy men shall fall by the sword and thy mighty in the war. So after all of this, you're going to have men that's going to fall by the sword in life anyway, that you should be trying to uplift them, because we out here being killed unjustly by this political system, the cops and everything like out here killing us. And you got us out here striving to try to become all we can be in a world that don't want us to survive. And we dying in war. And so you lose all of these strong and mighty men. They going to jail. They getting locked up. They getting killed. And so you getting all pretty and keep yourself. You did all this keeping your head up high, sisters, just to have no men to be able to adorn you for that no more. Now you don't have any men to be able to, worship this beautiful image that you have. Hold on, what's going on here? Okay. Now you don't have anybody to worship this beautiful image that you have, black woman, black sisters. You understand? They all dead and in jail. You understand? And now you have a bunch of wimps out here. A bunch of guys that's bending over. You understand? Becoming homosexuals. You understand? Now you don't have any options. You understand? We have lost it all. You understand? So now what we got to do is we got to get back to the truth of how we follow the kingdom of the Most High and his truth. And that's how we get back on the right time. Last but not least, we're going to end it with this. Enoch has inspired also the authors like this guy right here. You may be familiar with this guy right here. This guy's name is Eric Von Daniken. He is the author of Chariots of the Gods. And in this guy he uses the book of Enoch as so much of a strong reference, believing that Enoch is an extraterrestrial. You understand? And he believed that the Bible is basically based off of, human beings being created from aliens from outer space. So this guy right here basically is somebody that you can find is a straight fanatic of us being created from aliens and extraterrestrials. Now, if he only knew the discovery that I have shown in this presentation with young Pharaoh and I have shown you all, if he only knew the math that I have shown, and everybody that's out there is believing this, they would be completely blown away. They will be completely blown away because they don't want to accept the true children of Israel as who we are. They would rather say that the aliens came and that they don't want to acknowledge the truth. But when you look into people like him and you understand their philosophies and their understandings of the ancient aliens and all that type of stuff, it all ties back to the Bible. And it all comes back to Enoch and him being our forefather from the beginning. And even for the ancient Egyptians, they believe he was Thoth. You understand? They believe that the ancient Thoth of Egyptian times was Enoch as well. So when you learn all the literature and conclusion of everything, you will come back to our forefather Enoch, and he opened the door to reveal this information right here, what you see right here, showing the complete perfect math, because they really fall strong on the understanding that this math is divine. So when they talk about Enoch, they never point out specifically that the year that he pointed out in his calendar system that he gave was 364. They talk about all the divine things that he was shown in the heavens and all that type of stuff, and how all the things he was shown was so divine that it only could come from extraterrestrials and all this type of stuff. But they hide from you the truth that he pointed out that the year was 364 days. And so now in 2020, the Most High is revealing to the world and for all those who will watch this that the year is exactly 364 days. This was proven and shown to our forefather, our grandfather, Enoch, confirmed in the book of Jubilees, shown and revealed to Moses over time. And so therefore you have a truth that can't be denied once again. And once you break down this understanding, I'm going to leave you with this understanding. Wait one moment. And that understanding is that we have to start looking deeper and closer into the truth that we follow. We can't just be excited when we listen to people speak good words and they make a lot of sense, when they sound like they're talking about something, with a great speech. Because as you can see, I got a master's degree education, but I'm so ordinary that I just talk regular. It's like when I gotta talk by myself, when I gotta talk in front of my people, it's like I talk like this. But I've been in the professional world and I can put on a suit and tie, and I could throw in that jargon and I could talk that professional talk, but that's just not my leg. That's not my natural thing. So I'm ordinary. I'm regular. I'm a man of the Most High who was brought here to Israel to bring forth this truth to you all. And I'm here to give it to you, brothers and sisters, raw and plain. So this is part 1 of the answers and questions. I hope you have gotten something out of this. I hope you enjoyed. Be blessed. Be well. Shalom, shalom.